subject you're more likely not to meet. The humble ink stamp has been the perennial companion of accountant and librarian alike. Seen as a yesteryear invention, today's professionals such as engineers still need their official stamps. So it's been reinvented for the 21st century. The stamp making process begins with a design that's created with standard graphics software. The stamp design is printed onto paper using a high-quality laser printer. Then the printout is placed under an imaging camera, where they prepare the camera and take the all-important shot. "30 seconds later, out comes the negative, with the design showing light. Now the job of making the mould for the stamp can begin. The negative is applied to a plate of light-sensitive polymer, a plastic-like material. The air is then vacuumed out to prevent defects in the mould. The polymer plate is exposed to ultraviolet light for approximately 3 minutes. The UV penetrates through the light part of the negative, the stamp design, and hardens the polymer underneath. The rest of the polymer is shielded by the dark portions of the negative and remains unchanged. A wash cycle then scrubs away this unhardened polymer, leaving behind a perfect mould in the shape of the stamp. Next, the mould is covered with a sheet of synthetic resin called Bakelite and placed in a machine called a vulcanizer. The machine heats the Bakelite to 154 degrees Celsius, then forces it into a mould using 3 tons of pressure. After 4 minutes, the Bakelite stamp is ready. Next comes the built-in ink. The Bakelite stamps are screwed into the pre-ink mould, which have a mixture of ink and gel poured in. The mould is then covered and the air vacuumed out, a process that takes 12 minutes. The mould then goes into a heat press for 17 minutes. The press applies 2 tons of pressure to expel the excess ink and heats the ink gel to 127 degrees Celsius, transforming it to roughly the consistency of a marshmallow. So it won't overcook, the mould goes onto a special cooling table for 12 minutes. Next, it's set out to cool for another 45 minutes, this time on newspapers, which soak up more excess ink. Finally, the mould is wrapped in paper, and the last drops of excess ink are vacuumed out. The back of the stamp is quickly sealed to lock the ink in. Now they can cut apart the individual stamps. Workers glue the stamps by hand onto the base of the stamp handles. Before they're shipped out to the customer, all the stamps undergo a quality control check to make sure they'll leave a lasting impression.